Charity, I keep hearing strange whispers every night in this house.
Those are not whispers, Christabel. They are cries of the girls that never escaped.
What do you mean?
You are sleeping in the same bed where another woman died.
In the heart of the city, where the streetlights never go off, there lived men whose wealth was built on something deeper than business. It was built on blood. They called themselves the Sugar Daddy Club. To the world, they were respected men, businessmen, politicians, and powerful leaders, but behind their smiles was a secret that could burn the whole city down. Charity was a quiet young woman from the village. She came to the city to start a new life, but life had its own plans. Her best friend, Christabel, was already living in luxury, designer clothes, expensive wigs, and a new car every month. Her helper was Chief Martins, one of the richest men in town. When Charity first visited Christabel's apartment, she could not believe her eyes. Marble floors, golden curtains, perfume scent in the air, everything looked perfect, too perfect. Christabel walked out from her room wearing a red silk gown, smiling proudly. "Charity, my dear, welcome to the good life." Charity forced a smile, but deep in her chest, her heartbeat changed. The moment she stepped inside that house, she felt cold, like someone was watching her. Later that night, Christabel invited her out. They drove to a private lounge, the kind where only powerful men enter. The air was full of perfume, laughter, and secrets. Inside, Chief Martin sat at the center table with two other rich men, Mr. Kelvin and Mr. Roland. All of them wore black suits, diamond wristwatches, and matching rings with strange red symbols. They laughed, but their eyes were empty. Chief Martin stood and kissed Christabel's hand. "My queen, you look more beautiful every day." Charity sat quietly, looking around the dark lounge. Then she saw something strange. On the wall behind them was a painting of a lion with blood dripping from its mouth. No one else seemed to notice. That night, when they got home, Charity couldn't sleep. She kept hearing whispers, soft voices calling her name. The room grew colder. Then she saw it, a shadow moving by the mirror. It looked like a woman crying, chained to the wall. Charity gasped and sat up quickly. "Who are you?" she whispered. The shadow lifted its hand and pointed at the golden ring Christabel forgot on the table. Charity slowly picked it up. The symbol on the ring glowed faintly in red light. At that moment, she heard a voice, not loud, but clear. "The same blood that buys pleasure also buys death." She screamed. Christabel rushed in from the next room. "Charity, what is it?" Charity held the ring, trembling. "Where did Chief Martins get this ring?" Christabel looked confused. "Oh, it's just a club ring. All his rich friends wear it. What's wrong with you?" Charity stared at her. "This ring is not ordinary. There's something evil in it." Christabel laughed nervously. "You're thinking too much. Go to sleep." But Charity couldn't sleep again that night. The next morning, she decided to return to the village, but as she packed her bag, Christabel's phone rang. The name on the screen said, "The Club of Shadows." Christabel smiled and answered the call. "Yes, Chief." "Yes, sir. We'll be ready tonight." Charity froze. "Ready for what?" Christabel turned slowly. "Chief Martins is hosting a private dinner. He wants us to meet his friends." Charity hesitated. "At night?" Christabel nodded with excitement. "Of course. You will finally meet real billionaires." Charity's heart beat fast. Something in her spirit said no, but she followed anyway. That night, 3 black cars drove them into a secluded mansion at the edge of the city. The place was silent, too silent. Guards stood everywhere, dressed in black. Inside the hall, candles burned in corners. Charity whispered, "Christabel, what kind of dinner is this?" Christabel laughed nervously. "Maybe they're just doing a party with style." But as the door closed behind them, the music stopped. A tall man in a red robe walked in holding a golden staff. Chief Martins, Mr. Kelvin, and Mr. Roland all knelt before him. Charity froze in fear. The man spoke slowly. "Welcome, brothers of the Sugar Daddy Club. Tonight, we renew our covenant." Charity's breath caught in her throat. The candles flickered. and the air turned thick. She looked at Christabel. Her friend was smiling strangely, almost lost in a trance. Charity whispered, "Christabel, what's happening?" But before she could get an answer, Chief Martins turned and looked straight at her. His eyes glowed faintly red. "Bring the new girl forward," he said. Two guards grabbed Charity's arms. She screamed. The man in the red robe raised his staff. "Her beauty shall renew your life, Chief Martins. Let the sacrifice begin." Charity struggled, crying out, "Please, let me go." But at that moment, the candles went out, darkness filled the hall, a loud thunder cracked in the sky, a strange wind blew through the room, and the red symbol on the ring began to burn. Voices screamed in the dark. When the lights returned, everyone was frozen. The man in red was gone. Charity was gone too. Only her golden earring lay on the floor, shining beside Chief Martin's feet.
Chief, what is this red substance doing in our bedroom? It wasn't here last night.
Some things are better left unseen, especially if you value your life.
The night inside Chief Martin's mansion felt heavy, almost like the air was breathing on its own. Christabel couldn't close her eyes since that moment she saw the red substance. Every shadow in her room looked alive, whispering things she couldn't understand. She turned on the bed, but Chief Martins was gone. His side of the bed was cold. Her heart started beating fast. She called softly, "Chief. Chief." No answer, only the sound of thunder outside and a soft hum that seemed to come from underground. Christabel stepped down from the bed, barefoot, her silk nightgown dragging on the marble floor. The humming grew louder the more she moved closer to the wine cellar door. It was slightly open, and a dim light came from inside. Her hands shook as she pushed it gently. A strange smell hit her nose, like burning oil mixed with something metallic. Then she heard the voices. Deep, slow, strange voices chanting in a language she had never heard before. She bent her head slightly and peeped through the small gap. Inside the cellar, Chief Martin stood with 3 other men, all in black suits, barefooted, and their hands raised above a glowing bowl filled with the same red substance. Her eyes widened. One of the men dipped his hand inside the bowl and rubbed it across Chief Martin's chest. Immediately, Chief Martin screamed like someone in pain. His body shook, his eyes rolled, and dark smoke rose from his mouth. Christabel covered her mouth in fear. Her legs started shaking. She wanted to run, but as she turned, her elbow hit a flower vase beside the door. The vase fell and shattered loudly on the floor. Instantly, the chanting stopped. Everywhere became silent. "Who's there?" Chief Martin's voice thundered. Christabel panicked and ran, her feet hitting the cold floor as she dashed upstairs. Her breathing became heavy, but she didn't stop. Before she could reach her room, the lights in the mansion went off. Everywhere became pure darkness. She froze on the staircase, listening. Then a cold wind blew through the house. Though all the windows were closed, her heart raced. She turned around, and a hand grabbed her shoulder from behind. She screamed and turned. It was Chief Martins, but his face was not normal. His eyes glowed faintly red, and his voice sounded like 2 people talking at once. "You shouldn't have seen that, Christabel," he said slowly. She stepped back, tears filling her eyes. "What are you, Chief?" He smiled, but it was not a human smile. "I'm a man who refuses to die," he said, "and that substance you saw keeps my life going." She shook her head in disbelief. "You're lying." He raised his hand, and suddenly the candles in the hallway lit themselves one by one. On the wall beside him were strange symbols drawn in red, shining faintly. Christabel gasped. She moved backward slowly, but Chief Martins followed her step by step. "You have 2 choices," he said, his voice calm but deadly. "Keep my secret, or become part of it." Christabel turned and ran as fast as she could. She rushed to the main door, but before she could touch it, it slammed shut on its own. The sound echoed through the mansion. She screamed and banged on the door. "Help! Somebody help me!" Chief Martin's voice echoed behind her, dark and deep. "No one is coming, Christabel. No one ever does." She turned around, her body trembling. Chief Martin stood in the middle of the hall, his robe floating slightly like air was moving under it. The ground beneath him glowed faintly red again. Christabel shouted, "You're a monster." Chief Martins laughed, a deep, frightening laugh that filled the whole place. "Monster," he said. "No, my dear. I'm just one of many." The fire on the candles went out all at once, the house became silent again, and then Chief Martins disappeared. Christabel fell to her knees, crying, shaking, her whole body was weak. She crawled to the wall and whispered, "God, please don't let this be real." On the wall beside her, faint words began to appear slowly, written in glowing red letters, "Return." Christabel screamed again and covered her face. Far away in the city, under the cold street lights, Charity appeared suddenly in the middle of the road. She was barefoot, her hair messy, her skin covered in dust. She looked lost and confused. Cars honked as they passed, but she didn't move. She just stood there, staring at nothing. Then, slowly, she whispered, "Christabel." Her voice cracked, and a single tear rolled down her cheek. Something inside her knew the fight was not over. She turned her head slowly toward the dark side of the street, and there, a black shadow moved, watching her closely.
Hey, madam, are you okay? What happened to you? You look lost.
Lost? Lost? No! I just found out where evil truly lives!
Charity didn't know how she returned from that dark world, but one thing was sure, she came back with purpose. Her memory was blurry, but her spirit felt heavy. She kept hearing voices in her head, whispers that led her back to Christabel's mansion. That same night, Christabel sat alone in her room, still trembling from everything that happened. Her eyes were swollen from crying. She stared at the wall where the word "return" had appeared earlier. Suddenly, the candles in her room flickered again, cold air filled the space, and the window blew open. She jumped from the bed, screaming. Then she heard a familiar voice behind her, "Christabel." She turned sharply, and almost fainted. It was Charity. Her body was glowing faintly, her eyes deep with sadness but power. Christabel ran to her. "Charity. You're alive. We thought you were dead." Charity smiled faintly. "No, Christabel. I was trapped. But now I've seen everything. I know their secret." Christabel's heart beat faster. "Whose secret?" Charity looked down, her voice cold. "The Sugar Daddy Club. The men who trade their wives' peace for long life and wealth." Christabel covered her mouth. "So it's true?" Charity nodded. "It's worse than you think. Their power comes from the pain of the women they marry. Each tear you cry becomes the substance that feeds their life." Christabel screamed. "Chinik. Then we are the sacrifice." Charity held her hand tightly. "Yes. But we can end it tonight." That same moment, Chief Martins and the other men gathered again inside the hidden chamber. They were ready to renew their power. The red substance glowed inside the bowl as they began to chant. Outside the mansion, lightning flashed as Charity and Christabel approached the gate. The security lights flickered as they entered. Christabel whispered, "I'm scared." Charity's voice was calm but strong. "Don't be. Fear is how they win." They reached the main door. It opened by itself. Inside, the voices of the men echoed louder and louder. Charity stepped forward, her eyes glowing brighter. She raised her hand, and the candles in the hall went off. Only the red glow from the ritual room remained. The men stopped chanting immediately. Chief Martins turned sharply. "Who dares interrupt us?" he shouted. Charity stepped out of the darkness, her voice echoed. "The wives you used to stay alive." Chief Martins froze. You were gone." Charity smiled coldly. "You buried my body, but you forgot my soul." Thunder shook the mansion. The men began to chant again, trying to stop her. Christabel held Charity's hand tightly, whispering prayers. Chief Martins raised his hand, and the red bowl floated in the air, but before he could speak, the liquid inside turned black and spilled to the ground. The symbols on the wall caught fire, burning like light from heaven. The men screamed in pain, their eyes melting with the glow. Charity's voice grew stronger. "For every tear we cried, justice has found you." She raised her hand again, and a bright light filled the room. Chief Martins fell to his knees, shouting, "No! Please! I can't lose my power." Charity stepped closer. "You lost your soul long ago, Chief. Tonight, you lose the rest." With one final scream, Chief Martins and the other men vanished into ashes. The mansion shook like an earthquake, then silence. Charity and Christabel fell to the floor, breathing heavily. The red substance on the ground disappeared slowly until only dust remained. Outside, the storm stopped. The night became calm again. Christabel turned to Charity. "Is it over?" Charity smiled faintly. "Evil never ends, Christabel. It only hides until people forget." She stood up slowly and looked toward the sky. For years, they thought money could replace peace. But no man wins when his wealth is built on pain. Christabel began to cry. "Charity, what will happen to us now?" Charity placed her hand on her shoulder. "We start again. This time, with clean hearts." She began to walk away, disappearing slowly into the morning mist. Christabel watched her, whispering softly, "Thank you, Charity." As the sun rose, the mansion collapsed behind her. The last sign of the Sugar Daddy Club burned to ashes. When greed becomes stronger than love, destruction is never far. What you build with blood or with pain will one day turn against you, because true power is not in what you keep, but in what you give with a clean heart.